Alrighty guys, let's try this again. Hopefully the camera's out of the way. I'm going to put gloves on. Not that you need to, it's just I don't have a band-aid on this and I do not want to bang it or something or rip it open, and it feels just weird having just one glove on. So let's talk about using Dyno Joe's chamber cutter. I really like it. If you do not have a way to flip your cylinder around backwards to cut a chamber, this is the next best thing. If you're cutting aftermarket cylinders, get yourself an electric drill, some 80 grit, sticky sandpaper, and see if I can. You're going to have an old junk piston with no rings on it. Oh, what in the heck is going on here? I just had that piece. Snow sleep thing's catching up to me, I think. Well, what the heck? It's right here. Alright, I was just about ready to shut the camera off. Okay. If there's nicasil up inside your combustion chamber, you can use an eye hook and put it in there, slip your wrist in pin and do it that way. I don't feel you have as much control on stopping the piston from rocking in there. I will take duct tape and tape up whatever size spade that I need for the size of the piston, and then I will kind of force fit it onto the piston so it's like nice and sturdy. And then you set the, I'll set the cylinder in there, and you're going to want to turn that drill real slow. And you stick the sandpaper to the top. You gently slide your piston, making sure that you do not get any kernels of sandpaper between your piston and your wall. If you do, it'll be a bad result. And then you can go down in there and then twirl this on your slowest drill settings. The slower the better. Put moderate pressure, and what you're doing, you'll feel it start actually cutting and gnarling away the nicasil. You stop what you're doing. Do not have your cylinder like this. I always do it vertically so all the kernels fall into the combustion chamber, not your side of your thing. And do not spin it fast. If you spin it fast, you're going to take that stuff and it's going to pull it right up to the side, and you're going to ruin your cylinder. Spin it slow, slide it out, check it. I'll use a pick and kind of poke at it and kind of see if I'm through, because if you got that nicasil off, you'll be able to scratch the top of your chamber pretty good. Once you get the nicasil off, you take your Dyno Joe cutter and you take a flat block or piece of glass or whatever and 400 grit sandpaper and work every single edge of your cutter. Work every single edge of it until you get it as smooth as possible. That helps prevent gulling, and a really nice gentle cut. I get a much better quality result. Just to show you, I've not done anything to this chamber yet other than reach up in there with a screwdriver and scrape off the big gobs of carbon. So hopefully the first few passes we take a cut on this won't be loading up and stuff. And then I always like the bit facing me when you put these on. Make sure that you're pulling towards you so you're not dragging that tool on your cylinder. And then to set the depth, I use 2 razor blades. I'll just use the 2 razor blades, and I'll put them in here like that, and then I'll set the depth that I want. 2 razor blades normally work good, and if there is a bad finish afterwards, it leaves you about 5 thousandths that you can use some 120 grit sandpaper, old piston, to kind of clean it up a little bit. Now, when I'm using the sandpaper method or this cutter method, it's wise to bevel the edge of your piston, because you're not getting The edge is perfect, like as if you were machining it in a lathe, so you got to bevel it just so you don't run into interference issues on the piston. Sometimes even when I cut them on a lathe, the tool itself that I cut it with is just too rounded, and it leaves like a little radius in the corner. Some people will actually slice in a little farther into the wall to get rid of that. I don't like to do that. I'll go right to the wall, and then I'll just radius the piston. It's not that hard to radius the piston. It helps promote flow off the transfers anyway, that first crack. So it doesn't hurt my feelings any. And then if you wanted to go more than the 2 razor blades, 3 is probably too much unless you're doing some sort of crazy build. But after I cut it, I can put this in the lathe if I want 10 more thousandths out of the, say my squish still ain't where I wanted or whatever, or I want to take a little more out, I can shave 5, 10, 15, whatever I want off the base on the lathe, then come back over and you don't got to keep readjusting this. So let's begin. Once again, I haven't stopped or paused, nothing. This is in real time. This is going to be a 661 cylinder on Dyno Joe's cutter. Once again, pull it towards you. And this is not a race. You're not in a hurry to get this done. You don't have to spin it fast. I like to keep down, not a lot of down pressure, but pressure, and I like to keep side pressure. You probably should have the compressor and leasing stuff out, but I'll be blocking it off, so I don't care if stuff gets in this one. So, and then what I do is just gently, always keep steady pressure, and because this is the first couple cuts, I can feel it cutting that carbon. So let's pull it out, and let's keep on. Once that carbon's out of there, it'll be a lot smoother sailing. I'm in never a rush when I do this. Definitely tell my hand ain't right, but it's alright. I gotta get it in shape. I got a 500 I gotta do. So if I'm gonna screw one up, I'd rather screw up one of my cylinders. Yep, just we're working our way through that carbon. I don't know if you guys can hear it cutting or not. And sometimes if it's got like something stuck, I'll take an Allen wrench or a screwdriver or something. I don't know if this one's had chamber work done before or not. It's kind of high in the middle, which I find odd. Normally they cut to the outside first. I can feel it starting to go. That carbon's getting out of my way. You always want to be against your tool. If you got the tool the other way, then you're going to want to be pulling against it. If you get off, you're going to get, you know, there's a little bit of back and forth motion in there. If you get too carried away, you won't be cutting right up as close to the edge of the cylinder as you can get. Like I said, this is no rush. Now, those doing this on the lathe, the setup is a big pain in the butt to get it dialed in. But then it's like three minutes of cutting versus doing it this way. But you do have less likelihood of screwing your cylinder up this way. Hope you guys enjoy these kinds of videos. I get asked all the time on it. If you're patient and think about things, I'll show you another trick with this tool when I get this lifted off too that I've encountered with it. the bolt that tightens that lower clamp down sticks up, and you got to make sure you file that flat. Otherwise you'll run into some issues as well. Normally I have my compressed air here with me, which I don't think I shut my air compressor off. I'm amazed it's not kicked on yet in the video. I already cut one of these earlier today, and I got 3 of these cylinders. So I'll show you the progress so far. I mean, that's looking pretty good for being cut by hand, don't you think? I'm telling you, 400 in that cutter makes a world of difference. And sometimes the problem with these, if you find a hard spot, especially on a used cylinder, sometimes the exhaust side, the aluminum's been work hardened, so you get little spots in here that maybe it was a slightly different alloy that got casted into it or something. And when you find them hard spots, if you skip over it and keep skipping over it, and I'll show you a little trick that you do to get rid of them. You can either do the sandpaper method, or you can just keep using this tool, spend an extra few minutes on it. Always clear your chips. If something hangs up, don't force it, because otherwise you're going to gouge in your cylinder and you're going to be shit out of luck. You'll hear the tone change in that. Once you start touching down on the base, the tone of that cutter changes, and so does your chip size. And stuff in there. And if your cutter does start to load up a little bit, I just take a razor blade and clear it there. Got a little bump right here to the left. We'll get her this time. I could hit it right there. Yep. Keep my hand at that. You can feel it in my hand. I wanted to get that other one cut today too, but I don't think the hand's going to allow it. And once you come down to where the base is sitting, just keep steady pressure so you're not rocking it off that base, and then do your final cleanup scrapes or whatever cuts. This cutter is really capable of doing a really good job if you're patient and understand how the tool works. I think Joe knocked it out of the park on making these for you guys that don't have the 4-jaw chuck to she's bottomed out. This is the gentle cleanup cut that I was talking about. Pretty sure I'm down. Maybe not quite. I have a few thoughts yet to go. Chips are getting smaller. I tried oiling it and doing these. Just makes the chip stick to all the oil in and makes a big mess. And you're getting chips in between your cylinder wall. The dry method seems to be the do one more little cleanup scrape. Yep, I think we can live with that. Because all I'm getting is powder now. So I'll show you guys the final result. Looks worse on camera than it is. But I don't know, for a hand cut squish, let me know what you guys think of that. And that bolt I was talking about right here, I'll just, after I tighten that down, I'll take a file and go across it, make sure I got a flat spot, because that bolt sometimes sticks up and you'll catch it on your ears. It'll come on and also it'll tick up, and then it'll put a bad spot. So I couldn't quite figure out, of course I was trying to cut a nicasil cylinder, and then that bolt was ticking, and I was trying to figure out what in the heck's going on. Typically, some of the cylinders you cut have that lower skirt and it rides to the inside of it. You never even worry about it. Steels, a lot of times they don't have that, so that's when I encountered it on a steel. So I just thought I'd share that little tip trick video. But that's how I use Dyno Joe's chamber cutter. If the ring is a little loose, I just use some electric tape to hold it, and I'll use this to hold the bottom one. In theory, the farther you get them apart, the more true the bore is going to be to the cylinder. Now let's say if I wanted 10 thousandths more out of that chamber, all I'd have to do is go over, put it on the mandrel, skim off 10 thousandths on the bottom, then come over and recut it again. Or I could find something that's 10 thousandths thick or whatever and add on to it with my razor, with my razor blades. But typically those, at least that brand of razor blade, some El Cheapo I bought, 2 of them are 45 thousandths thick. It leaves 5 thousandths if I want to sandpaper up that chamber. One of these, because I'm cutting that right now to raise the exhaust, or lower the exhaust roof, and then one of these I'm going to cut on an angle. I ain't figured out what one yet. Might do the really bad cylinder that's got a whole bunch of fins busted off it, but that's how I use that. So sorry for the 17 minute video that me blabbing, but hopefully it helps somebody out. You guys have a good one.